A lot's going on in the political landscape, and we'll be talking about that here on the Pod TV. I've got Sasha Starr and Rick Rosner joining me. I did read earlier today that one of the Post brothers had received a bomb threat, but it looked like there was no bomb actually involved, as the Pope and the current president had been going into spats and all along those lines. So that was interesting to see and everything like that. And then the other thing that I saw that was interesting was I was watching a press conference from a couple of weeks ago where the Durham sheriff, the sheriff here in Durham, was being taken to task by a senator, a Republican senator, for the way that he was handling sanctuary situations and all along those lines. So he was being taken to task, and I might try to get Clarence Burkhead on this show to see how he was responding, because he said that he thought it was a lot of theatrics and all along those lines, and he's probably right about that and everything like that. Because at one point, the gentleman was offering him water because he said his pants were on fire and everything like that. So there was a lot of theatrics going on in that space, and a lot's going on in the world, both with Ukraine and with the negotiations, I guess, between Israel and Lebanon, and a number of other things that are taking place in the world and everything along those lines. So how are you gentlemen doing? I know that Sasha's over there having a grand old time because he's on vacation, but he's still doing good and everything like that. But how are you folks doing? And all along those lines, because like I said, a lot's taking place in the world. We talked a little bit about it earlier today, but then we had that guest that was dealing with cybersecurity. And I thought she was a good guest, and she gave a lot of great tips and everything like that. So how are you doing today, Rick and Sasha?
So I'm okay. I'm enjoying Trump self destructing, and it's a test of his MAGA base where there's no justification for fighting with the Pope. So the
Right.
only you can't give excuses for it if you're a Catholic. All you can do is pretend that you're not aware of it, which is what Mike Johnson usually and a lot of the people in the House do when they get when a reporter sticks a mic in their face and asks, "What about this dumb thing that Trump did?" They say, "I haven't heard about it." And that's what millions of MAGAs are going to have to pretend to do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to pretend to do that and all along those lines. But I did see that I think that Vance was telling him to stick, to, meaning the Pope, to issues of morality and let Trump deal with the issues of American politics and world politics and all along those lines. But I don't think that that's going to be the case, particularly when the Pope's own brother is being apparently threatened by some of those MAGA types and everything like that. But it could have been just a prank or something in that space. But I did see that that happened earlier today. And this was the because apparently they're a very mixed family, because they have like a very liberal son with a liberal brother, a very conservative MAGA type brother
It
who's
doesn't matter if somebody's phoning in bomb threats. It doesn't matter what their politics is. They're the Pope's family. It doesn't frickin' matter.
I agree, doesn't matter at all and everything.
What's Sasha?
So I know you'll be talking tomorrow in Ukraine
Sorry.
and everything like that.
No, I'm not going to talk about Ukraine because Ukraine is holding its own, and Russia will get, although they are continuing their attacks against Ukrainian civilians, cities, villages, it's still going on by all means, but they cannot acquire even one centimeter of Ukrainian territory. They're just keep sending their people, they're being killed, and they're bombing Ukrainian cities and villages, killing more people here and there. This is just shows a incredible stupidity of Russians. But now I want to talk about incredible stupidities of MAGA and Trump. So therefore, Americans, because you cannot dissociate yourself completely from MAGA and Trump, even if you're against them. After 1945, there were American world order, which America created and which America defended any way possible with armies and uh, nuclear bombs and everything was online. And because America was so superior to anything existing in the world, so this was an American-centric world. All rules were American. The oil flowing and petrodollar was basically just almost like a gold standard. So everything was going America's way. America was hegemon. America was the best um,
Yeah.
best machinery, the best high tech, just anything, the culture, the Broadway shows, the movies, just not everything. Everything was American. And what's happened with the idiot like Trump and MAGA, they elaborately removed America from its dominant role in the world. They started out they don't need America's dominance. Okay, do something else where America would continue its dominance and replace this. I don't know why you have to do it, but if you decided to do this, so you do next move. So you create another agreement or another platform where America still would be number one hegemon. But that didn't happen. America got involved in all kinds of wars. America starts every year new 3.5 wars. And wars after wars, America is losing its golden capital, which is the soft power. It's losing its soul. Nobody wants to deal with America, even traditional European allies. They don't want to help. Even not fighting together with America against Iran, but even providing the airspace or the landing space for aircraft. Nothing of that. So America is now involved in the unthinkable, incredibly stupid war with Iran. Iran, so they have, okay, 400 kilos of enriched uranium. Is that something that they can create a nuclear bomb? Absolutely not. Not a chance whatsoever. So they can sit on that uranium for next 55 years and nothing will happen to it. So here's a war. The economy has been shattered. It's trying to recover, but I don't believe that. Yes, I made that the last few days. I made a little bit of money. Yes, the stock market will go higher. It may go higher for another 2, 3 days, maybe even less. And then, see, the problem is that the economy of U.S. is shattered. U.S. is almost $40 trillion in debts. There is not a single thing that you can say, okay, now our economy is growing, now we're going to do so well. No, it's not. And the midterm election is coming up, and I think that the House will be lost decided by Trump and Republicans, and the Senate is the way things are going right now. They will lose Senate as well. So this is so they're losing their power within United States. They lost all their power, including soft power, all over the world. So the America with the external debt, it's a lost case scenario. I don't know how people will be able to.
So Sasha's right. The U.S. had incredible good luck in World War II and immediately after. We had the luck that it all happened in Europe and the Far East. So the U.S. suffered, I think, 0 casualties within our own country and only 400,000 war deaths compared to tens of millions for Russia, millions for all the other countries who were in the war. We were isolated. We also had the luck that our enemy was undeniably evil, which made us feel like we were a force of good, which made us behave as if we were good to some extent for decades. And then Trump was our bad luck. It took a lot of bad luck things to happen to elect Trump the first time. And
no, we elect him twice and everything like that. But just
yeah,
really
and
quickly,
so it looks less like luck the second time. But if we could get him out of there at the end of his term and put in the in-between presidents, the before president, Obama, the world liked Obama. The world pretty much liked Biden. They were decent people. If we can get another decent person in there, and enact some safeguards against the forces of Trumpism, we could win back the world. Not 100%, but maybe 80% of the goodwill that the world had for us, we could maybe restore.
Well, speaking of that, what is your thoughts? Because I kind of alluded to it earlier at the beginning of the show, but he's taken on the Pope. I don't know why he's taken on the Pope. I did go to a Jesuit university and have some passion for Catholicism and all along those lines and everything like that. But I've even read some people that are and not the most religious people. I've been looking online, and there's even some people that call themselves atheists that are saying that this argument with the Pope is making them lean even further against Trump and everything like that. And then that is a big voting block. I know we talk about the Jewish block, but the Catholic block is a big voting block that he is antagonizing. That's what
So none of us here, the three of us, none of us are young, but we all have our marbles here. Mm-hmm. And Trump is going to be 80 in less than 10 weeks. And we have our doctor on, Dr. Patmos, for the medicine show.
Right.
And he argued, and a lot of people agree, that Trump is suffering frontotemporal dementia, that the front of his brain that tells you how to behave is turning to shit. And he doesn't have a plan. He does whatever he wants. And he's got a cabinet that lets him do whatever he wants. And even his own brain can't control his frickin' brain.
But speaking of that cabinet and all along those lines, his current VP is a converted Catholic and everything like that, and he is undermining his own support. I mean, JFK was I think last Catholic president that we had elected and everything like that, and probably the only. No, but I think was Biden Catholic? I can't remember. I think
JFK had to make a speech where he promised that he was more aligned with America than with the Pope, because he was the first Catholic president, and Americans were apprehensive about somebody who was beholden to a foreign power. Biden's a big time Catholic, and nobody ever accused him of being beholden. That's an old school. That happened 60 years ago.
Right.
But Trump doesn't give a crap about Vance. Trump will sacrifice Vance if he has to. He doesn't care.
Yeah, because I know Vance has also been in an argument with one of the generals, and I think Trump has been kind of instituting and antagonizing that one as well, being kind of like the bully that encourages fights, or the person that encourages the fights between the bully and the other people and everything like that.
Let's get Sasha's perspective.
Yes.
My perspective is very simple. I'm not
you got to get closer to the mic.
I'm not a religious man, but I did study history of religion, like other parts of history. I love history. And it seems to me I know quite a lot about religion. And what's importance of religion is, it doesn't matter whether it's Protestant or Catholic or Judaism. That doesn't really matter. What's important is the result. The result is that thanks to the religion, and here Catholics are coming very highly in my opinion, that they allowed the world culture to come to absolutely incredible height. If you take the Renaissance and take the greatest composers, starting with Bach and going farther on the greatest sculptors and their incredible pictures, sculptures, and so on, that would not be able to exist without Catholics, number one. The Protestants, yes, they also have their great painters, artists, so on. Okay, so I'm not trying to say that Catholics are more talented than the Protestants, and most are ahead of Judaism. No, I'm not saying that. What's important is that in our world, since 1945, United States combined a power and the values. And that's unbeatable combination that no other country could come even close. Now what's happened is that America is losing both. It's losing its values as a Judeo-Christian civilization. It's losing its power just as well. Who would think you just even 10 years ago that Iran would be able to fight United States? You must be out of your mind. They're in different leagues. If US just say that we are thinking about attacking Iran, Iran would lie down and make sure that all the America's desires are satisfied. They would never ever think about it. But America would not allow them to even to think about anything. They attacked Iran, making them fighting America and Israel and defend their country. It's existential fight for Iran. When Trump every hour and a half saying that this civilization will be destroyed. How a world leader can even pronounce such a heresy, such a awful things that he will destroy civilization. He should be put in jail just for saying that. It's incredible, absolutely. I don't know how people can show it on Fox TV and some other devices. I mean, it's horrible. It's really, really horrible. That's what I think.
Definitely horrible. By the way, Donald Trump, I guess earlier today, announced a potential Israel-Lebanon leadership talk. So this looks like this is, it looks like it just came down 28 minutes ago that Israel and Lebanon have agreed to a 10-day ceasefire, according to what Trump is saying about that. So we'll see if that ceasefire holds or doesn't hold, but they've agreed apparently to a week and a half ceasefire.
When you say, this is for both of you, when you say Lebanon, are you saying Hezbollah? Because they're fighting Hezbollah. Is Hezbollah the one that's agreed to a ceasefire?
It says it's the country of Lebanon. So it's the Lebanon leaders.
Lebanon has no effective government. Hezbollah runs the frickin' country. So what's the deal, Sasha?
Well, I think that Trump has announced the ceasefire. I don't believe that either Israel or Lebanon announced ceasefire. I didn't hear that at all. So I don't know what kind of ceasefire.
Okay.
And it is Trump that is saying it. So you're right. Trump is saying this and everything, by the way.
Okay. So that's, I mean, it just the way what he's saying is nonsense because Lebanon is not in charge of Lebanon. The Hezbollah runs a mafia state. So if you don't get, all right. So
if you don't get them involved, then you're not really having a ceasefire. So it probably won't last and everything like that. Apparently, because, Trump has been one of the main people that's complained about DEI and everything. But the other thing that I just saw that Trump did earlier today is he picked Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC. And she does look like she's an African-American woman and a former Coast Guard doctor. So she was the former deputy surgeon general. So we'll find out what her background is. Maybe Dr. Patmos later on can tell us what her background is and whether
I can pull her up here.
Pull her up.
Here she. Well, let's see.
It's Schwartz. It's SCH.
I see her. She doesn't look like a crazy person. So let's see.
What is her stances? Does it say?
Well, she was Deputy Surgeon General from 2019 to 2021, so mostly under Trump the first time around.
Right. So she might have been involved with some of the pandemic response as well then, if she was in that time, because 2020 is when the pandemic took place, or started.
Yeah.
She was not her position. She left when Biden came in.
Gotcha.
So she resigned because Biden did not name her to be acting Surgeon General. She was on the board of directors for a home care provider Aviana Healthcare, that does nothing, and another medical board. Um, I'm not seeing whether she believes crazy crap, but I'm not seeing any indication that she does.
Well,
So let me keep poking around. Um,
well, you keep poking around. It looks like the California Teachers Association has endorsed Tom Steyer for governor. So I know you're in California, but it looks like the California Teachers Union has endorsed the billionaire Tom Steyer, who attended elite Phillips Exeter Academy and sent his own kids to private school. And they're saying that he's running the most expensive campaign in America.
all right, so he's a billionaire. He can afford to run. I'm leaning towards him. I didn't know Swalwell was a scumbag. I don't think most people did. Um, I hadn't decided who to vote for, but I was leaning towards Swalwell on the basis of not knowing much. He seems young. He seemed, energetic.
Well spoken. Well spoken.
Yeah.
Well spoken.
But it turns out, I guess he was just humping everybody, whether they wanted to be humped or not. So now he's gone. Everybody who knows anything about the California election knows the problem California faces with a jungle primary, which is everybody gets voted for at once, Republicans and Democrats and independents all together. And the top two vote getters have a runoff. And for a while, people were afraid, and still are pretty much, but there are only two big Republicans running. And there's 7 or were big Democrats running, and Dems were worried that the Dems would split the vote, and the two biggest vote getters would be Republicans, and one of them they'd both be in the runoff, and one would win. With Swalwell going away, I think that Steyer will pick up a ton of support. He's outspending everybody. He seems like a reasonable guy. He'll probably finish second to Steve Hilton, who's a Fox News kind of jackass.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there and everything. I did see that Trump got some more bad news and everything like that, because apparently earlier today, the judge again halted construction at Trump's White House ballrooms, but they're halting the above ground construction, but they're allowing the work underground. So they're limiting his White House ballroom project to underground work, which I guess would be like the plumbing and stuff like that. But the judge is allowing national security work to proceed at the White House ballroom construction site, but it looks like it's all the underground work.
Yeah. But there's nothing in an article right below that on Drudge. It says that, they've stopped the ballroom, but nothing is stopping that terrible looking arch from going up.
Yeah, it looks like a McDonald's arch.
However, if you look at the arch looks like a bunch of arches throughout the world. It's got that classic Roman style that you see the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, and you see it elsewhere. What makes it look like crap is the angel or whatever the hell that is on all the extra gold crap. It makes it look crappy, and people are saying as soon as he leaves office we should tear it down, but they really wouldn't have to tear it down. All they would have to do is strip away. What they're going to have to do with the Oval Office and outside the Oval Office is just have somebody come along with a scraper and peel off all the gold crap. And so you could have an arch that is stupidly oversized and inappropriate, but at least it wouldn't look super crappy.
Does Trump want to be another version of the Saudi Arabia and some of the other countries that we killed their leaders and everything like that? Because I remember when the first Gulf War took place, that was one of the big complaints, was that a lot of those leaders were paving their bathrooms and their houses in gold, and it sounds like he wants to pave the White House in gold. So has he borrowed from some of those past leaders that the America used to fight against?
So Trump was born in Queens, New York. There are 5 boroughs of New York City, right? When you think of New York City, you think of Manhattan. Manhattan's the fancy borough. Queens is the second least fancy borough in front of Staten Island. Trump has had an inferiority complex his whole life. He doesn't want to be known as being, there's a phrase, the short-fingered vulgarian, which is, the teeny-handed, asshole from Queens. So he what he does is he tries to make up for it with gold curlicues every place. And that's just the way he is. It's not a strategy. It's just that he thinks that's how you communicate your exaltedness.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of exaltedness and everything like that, because I just see that the Pope was talking about that the world is being controlled by a bunch of tyrants, and I think he was mentioning both Trump and Putin and a number of other things. But apparently there's a rise, which I did not know, with young men, and I'll have to ask my nephews about this, in young men in religiosity or the belief in religion. I know Sasha just said he's not a big fan of religion, but they're saying more young men say religion is very important to them, and that's more young men than women say religion is important to them. So they're even saying this is like a gender gap going on, where I guess the women are like, no, that's okay. Y'all are too much in control and being patriarchal and everything like that, whereas a lot of young men are going toward religion. So what is y'all's thoughts on this? Is the world becoming more religious?
Not in any real way. Young bros. Like, I did so much stupid stuff when I was in my 20s. I don't know. I don't think Sasha got to do stupid stuff in his 20s because you were in the freaking army and they wouldn't let you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's one reason Sasha's in favor of a military draft, because you take guys when they're at their stupidest, when they're out of the house, trying to live on their own, trying to figure out the world and making lots of dumb mistakes. And religiosity, they'll think of something else like 2 weeks from now. Like there's this Looks Max deal where you take steroids, you hit yourself in the face to make your cheekbones swell up, you get plastic surgery to spread your jawbone, and so you can get girls even though you're afraid to talk to girls. Young bros are stupid, and the U.S. doesn't really support young men. Universities, 60% women, 40% men. We just kind of go, yeah, they're fucking, like I just did. Guys are fucking idiots, and we don't really work hard to give them, structure and any, so.
Speaking of structure, we got some breaking ICE news and everything like that, because apparently the first ICE officer has been charged with assault for threatening people with a gun in Minnesota. So I'm not surprised that it happened in Minnesota and everything like that. So it's a looking investigation into federal officers months after immigration crackdown in Minnesota. So they've already accused at least one ICE agent with assault and accused of pointing a gun at somebody, a civilian in Minnesota. So are we going to see more ICE agents being...
Yeah. I don't know if you'll see the murdering ones, the ones who killed the people. And it's more than two. Those are just the most famous. I assume eventually somebody will get charged with manslaughter or dereliction of duty, but it's going to take a while, and it maybe won't be the most famous ones. And they shouldn't really have been in Minnesota at all, because Sasha's basically from Minnesota. He's from north of Minnesota. And when you walk down the street in Canada, how many illegal aliens from Mexico do you see? No, not all the illegals are coming up through the southern border. Minnesota is part of our northern border, and they were only screwing with it because it's a blue state and governed by the guy who ran for VP against Trump. It was pure revenge.
Yeah, they're coming through Wisconsin. They're coming through Minnesota. They're coming through places like that. Apparently, Trump is doing just too much. This man is too busy with himself, because apparently he's posted a new AI image of himself embracing Jesus amid backlash from Christians and his ongoing rift with Pope Leo. So that one image wasn't enough. He's now done another AI image of himself with.
Yeah, but that we'll see how much. So I looked up the statistics, and Trump's year of being president, and as of earlier this month, before the feud with the Pope, some of his behavior had cost him the support of maybe 10% of the Catholics who voted for him.
Yeah,
So this feud with the Pope might cost him another 5% of the Catholics. But a lot of people are too busy with their own lives to pay attention to this bullshit, which is perfectly reasonable. And another big chunk of people, as I said, will just pretend like it's not going on. Like, like if you're married to somebody who's screwing around on you. Now, some people want to know and they'll hire a detective.
Mhm.
Other people just want to keep things the way they are, and they just cover their eyes and ears and their obvious clues. And that's a lot of Trump's political support.
A lot of Trump supporters are doing the ostrich number, where they're hiding their heads hiding their head in the sand, the way that ostriches do.
And I did the same thing when Biden was president. It was fairly obvious that there was a problem. I'm not going to say, even now, I'm in a little bit of denial. I wouldn't say that the problem was with Biden. It was a problem with how they dealt with Biden being really old. They hid him. And I thought, I just let it'll be okay. People will realize he's a good guy. And no, it was a disaster.
Well, speaking of disasters, I know that, and they have their own problems and everything like that. But apparently, the House has broken with Trump because they have approved a bill to shield 350,000 Haitians from deportation. I didn't realize that we had that many Haitians in America and everything like that. But they're going to shield them from being deported and everything like that. So they just actually went against Trump, at least for now.
Okay, well, that's good news.
Yeah, that's
And
definitely
also, I found out Erica Schwartz seems to be like a fairly mainstream doctor who is assistant deputy attorney general. She believes in vaccines. She doesn't have any lunatic beliefs. I don't know if he just got tired of picking lunatics, or if anyway, or if he just wanted to get some like decent press for not appointing another lunatic.
Well, speaking of decent press, this is not decent press. One of his allies, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, has blasted progressivism as a threat to America. So he went on apparently an unhinged rant about intellectuals, and he says Americans' values are under threat. So he's warning about intolerance among younger generations that will infect the courts and everything like that. So he's another older man because he's 77, so he's only a few years younger than Trump and everything like that. So I guess that's 2.5 years younger. And
he's an angry guy. He's a cranky guy. He feels like he was mistreated from the very start of his career on the Supreme Court, because they had hearings into his behavior, whether he was a sexual harasser. Anita Hill testified against him.
Mm-hmm.
Biden kind of screwed up those hearings because they had 3 other women ready to come out against him, and Biden decided he didn't want to bring them forward.
Actually, I knew one of those women, because one of those women had worked. I helped her write one of her ghostwrite a book that she was working on. Unfortunately, she's passed away, but she lived here in Durham. But I don't think that she ever testified. I got to look back at
No, they weren't given an opportunity to go in front of So you knew her?
I didn't know one of the ladies that worked with.
I bet you she was like a perfectly reasonable, highly believable person.
Oh, it's very reasonable. I mean, she lived not that far from my dad and everything like that. Lived not that far from one of our major churches and everything like that. But it was very reasonable, very calm woman and everything like that. And everything that she told me, I definitely believed what she was saying.
Yeah, I mean, there people. Not everybody knows, but most people know that the rate at which people falsely yell rape is no higher than any other false claim of any other crime, and likely a lot lower, because it takes a pair of brass lady balls to come forward after somebody has done some shit to you. And so for the most part, the vast majority, they say believe all women. And I'd say, believe almost all women, because it takes a huge amount of gumption. I didn't believe the woman who accused Biden on Twitter, I said, yeah, I was skeptical. And then she tweeted back at me, you're an asshole and blah, 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 blah. And I go, all right, sorry. You want to come on our show? This was before it was called Naked at Night. And she said, sure. And then she didn't. And then not too long after, she defected to Russia because she screwed over too many people in America. So she was the rare example of a crazy con artist lady who was full of crap. But most accusers, if you look at their behavior, their background, their demeanor, their stories, are telling the truth.
No doubt about that. A lot of them are telling the truth and not getting the time to tell the truth and everything like that. And everything. What else did you see on Drudge and everything like that that folk need to be known about before we get ready to go to Coco show very shortly and everything along those lines? But we still got some time and everything like that. So, what is other stories that you're finding out there on True Social? And,
so the Obama Presidential Library is about ready to open. Okay. And it's a very striking building in that it's like it looks like a giant World War II pillbox. Like it's very brutalist. It's like, I don't know how many stories, 10, 15 stories. And it just goes kind of, it's a cross between a giant concrete box, and it slightly curves outward like a coconut. And it's going to cost $30 to go in it. And I think that it's going to be a very successful thing as far as presidential libraries go. I think it will take some getting used to, because the architecture is so brutalist. And of course, the conservatives will continue to attack it. But anyway, $30 to get in.
$30 to get in. Is that the average rate for a presidential library? I've not been to a presidential library.
I don't know. Let's find out. Because we've got a huge presidential library here, the Reagan Presidential Library, that always has events.
Yes, how much does the Reagan Presidential Library cost?
$25 for adults, 22 for seniors, 18 for high school students. So, all right, it's so they have expenses. And Clinton Library, let's see, 12 for adults, 10 for seniors. So cheaper, but also it reflects the difference between being in California and being in Arkansas.
How much is the Carter Library, which I think is probably in Georgia?
All right. $12 for adults, 10 for seniors.
So those are definitely some Southern prices, because those are two of the Southern presidents and everything like that. So yeah, the Richard Nixon Library is probably in that $30 range, because I think that's probably going to be in California as well.
Yeah. 29 for adults. So it's the most expensive except for Obama's so far.
So far, it's the most expensive and everything like that. Well, this has been a fun conversation. I know I got to get to Coco show and everything like that. So we'll wrap this one up here and everything along those lines. Unless, Sasha, you want to tell folks what they can expect for Ukraine, Russia, China, and Iran. We can actually add that title to the as well on tomorrow's show. But what can we expect in your conversations tomorrow afternoon? Morning.
What is the latest development? Dr. Trump will tweet another situation. So we'll see it. If nothing will happen, there is nothing to discuss really. I mean, in Iranian situation, there are a lot of talk about getting troops or boots on the ground. I don't see how it can happen, how it ever can happen. So we'll discuss it tomorrow, and then we'll do chess at
well, let me add one thing, because we haven't. When the Trump Presidential Library opens, that'll cost at least $50. Trump never overlooks an opportunity to rake in some bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna be an expensive one and everything like that. Sasha, I know you'll be talking about this tomorrow, but how worried are you about the latest offensive? Because I do understand when I was looking at the news earlier today that not Ukraine, Russia launched one of its biggest drone attacks ever. And I know Ukraine has been doing a lot of drone attacks, but this was one of the biggest attacks on some of your cities in Ukraine that are popular.
Yeah,
populated.
I mentioned it earlier, and yes, there are people who were killed, and all of them are innocent people. We'll discuss it tomorrow.
But you're saying that the era of Russia grabbing Ukraine is over, that they can't make any more headway.
They're not making any headways. Yes, they're killing people through their ballistic missiles, drone attacks, or so on. But on the front lines, when they have Ukrainians defending, they cannot make any progress whatsoever at all. Actually, in many occasions, Ukrainians are make them running for their lives.
All right. Well, that's pretty good news. All right. See y'all tomorrow.
See you tomorrow morning. I think we have a guest tomorrow, but we'll be talking about world issues as well. But I'll send you the note once I confirm that. But right now, let's get on out of here, and we'll see y'all later on. I've got a couple other shows that I've got to produce for the folks here, but we'll see you two on tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
No problem.
One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Culiet. Max, tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an
One of the things that business owners forget a lot is to prepare for their own retirement.
Hi, my name's Nick Palavita, and today I'm with a very special guest, a certified financial planner, a chartered retirement plan specialist, and president of National Pension Partners, Max Culiet. Max, tell me what you do at National Pension Partners.
Well, Nick, we help successful small businesses and professionals put together retirement plans that provide them the maximum retirement benefits and big tax deductions at the same time.
Well, how do you do this?
Well, we get on an internet conferencing system with the client. We review their goals, what they want to accomplish, and then put together strategies to help them in implementing a retirement plan that benefits them, not everybody else.
Well, that sounds really good, but how much does this cost?
Well, it's really not bad because the first consultation is free. That allows us to go through and discover whether this strategy works for that business and for you as the business owner and helping you maximize your retirement.
Well, Max, how do we get this free appointment?
It's really pretty simple, Nick. You can either go to our website below or call us at 877-252-1692, and then we can set up a time with either myself, Nick, or one of our other retirement plan specialists, another CPA or advisor in the office to go over this with you and make sure it fits for you.
Hi, my name is Lewis Haupt. I work with National Pension Partners, and I work with businesses to allow them to put the maximum away that they can for themselves and to save taxes.
Hi, I'm Brad Coyle, and I'm the brokerage manager at National Pension Partners. We're always analyzing plan fund choices in order to ensure the participant's success.
If you want more information on how we can help you and your business put more money away in a retirement plan than you ever thought possible, contact us at the website below or call us at 877-252-1692.